Good afternoon. My name is Dawgface Calderon, and they refer to me as the most dangerous voice in Detroit. And over the course of the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you why they call me or refer to me as the most dangerous voice in Detroit. By the way, welcome to the breakdown spot. Let's talk about the whole convoluted process between T Grizzley and Wack 100. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, Christopher 600 Lovejoy, who's one of Wack 100's main flunkies, he posted this. Let me scoot this over. It says, hey, Flakko, since we talking in front of microphones and in front of cameras or cell phones or whatever you get, we could do that too over here, right? So let me just move this to the side for a second. It's gonna pick up because it's one of those DB joints, one of those shorts. So it's gonna pick up even if I move it over here. So let's get to it. So Christopher Lovejoy, he posted this document about 3 weeks ago with a caption that read something like, hey, T Grizzley, we got that work on you. Hey, Wack, let's go. As if he was triggering an investigation into T Grizzley about this document. This document is important because this is where this whole thing with Wack 100, T Grizzley, Akademiks, myself, is where it all starts from. Let's not move too far away from where it all originated from, which is this report right here. We know that Wack 100 gave this document to Christopher Lovejoy because he went on Adam 22's show on No Jumper, and he said, hey, listen, I sent this document, this one right here, to 15 people in the blogosphere, the YouTube streets. So we're assuming he sent it to Seti Nash, Trap Laura Ross. We know he sent it to Christopher Lovejoy. We know he probably sent it to Akademiks and Vlad and a few more people, right? I'm going to get to Vlad, Akademiks, and Adam, who've allowed Wack 100 to commandeer their platforms that they built on their own without any help or assistance from him. They've allowed Wack 100 to weaponize their platforms and to use their platforms to trick people and to talk about crimes and to talk about criminal activity that could eventually lead them or somebody they know to a federal prison cell. So let's get into it. So this document, it was a police investigation report, right? Excuse me. It was written on February 7th of 2024 by a detective from the Devonshire precinct of the LAPD, whose badge number is 321-9842. In this police report, right, we can look at it. This is the actual police report that Wack 100 was reading from, that he sent to Adam, that he sent to Akademiks, that he sent to Vlad, and that he sent to 12, 13 other people. And this is a police report that was written by Detective Hamilton, badge number 321-9842. It says that T Grizzley, in a follow-up investigation of the burglary of his home, that he sat down with Detective Hamilton in his home in California on February 17th, 2024. That is important because on February 17th, 2024, T Grizzley, he wasn't at his home in California. He was in Miami shooting a video with Future, of which we have video footage and picture footage that is date stamped and time stamped, proving this to be true. On February 17th, 2024, it was a Saturday. Go ahead and look it up. You can chat GPT it, or you can just simply go to the calendar on your phone and you can do what I'm going to do. So we're going to go into 2024. 2024, can you guys see that? 2024, February 17th was a Saturday. T Grizzley was in Miami, Florida, shooting a video with Future. Couldn't miss it. The biggest show on earth in the city of Miami. In this police report, it says that it was written by Officer Hamilton or Detective Hamilton, badge number 321-9842. Let's just jump right into it. There is no Detective Hamilton on the LAPD whose badge number is 321-9842. So you have to ask yourself a question. What are the odds of a detective who's been on the force long enough to make detective grade, what's the odds of that detective writing the wrong badge number on a report that he wrote? When this whole document came under fire, not only for the structure of it, not only for the lack of signature, not only for the lack of any identifying marks outside of this shit being typed up on through Microsoft Word, right? When this document came under fire, Wack 100 and his merry band of idiots, they rushed to the LAPD site to look for somebody named Hamilton, last name Hamilton, so they could match the person who allegedly wrote this report with a real life person who works for the LAPD. The only problem is they chose the wrong Hamilton, because the Hamilton they came up with was Alan S. Hamilton, whose badge number is 108. His serial number is 27393. And he just so happens to be the deputy chief of police of the LAPD. So now that begs to ask the question, why would a deputy chief of police be conducting a follow-up report on a burglary of a home that happened September 28, 2022? Why would the deputy chief of police take the task of going to someone's home to interview them about a burglary that happened over 2 years? Because he says this was February 17th, 2024. The burglary happened September 28, 2022. So that is well over 2 years. Why would a deputy chief of police do that? Why would he waste his time when he can just field this off to an active detective under his leadership? Doesn't make sense to me. But listen, not only is the name and the badge number on the report not matching, the structural framework of the document does not match. And also, the information in the document doesn't match because T. Grizzley wasn't in LA to have been interviewed by anybody on February 17, 2024, which was a Saturday, because he was in Miami shooting a video with Future. Okay, let's move forward. Inside this document, it says that T. Grizzley sat down with a Detective Hamilton, who we now know there's no Detective Hamilton. We now know this is a fake document. And by the way, Wack 100 said that he put this document out there trying to entice or bait T. Grizzley into speaking on it, into denying it, because this was the left hand. In his right hand, he had the real documentation. That's what he said on Adam. I don't even have to play it or pull it up. I want to do what Flakko did. I want to sit at a chair at my desk with a microphone in my face and talk to you guys. That's what I want to do. I feel all warm and fuzzy inside, so that's what I'm going to do. So listen, in this document, it says that T. Grizzley pointed out during the interview that baby shooter, a.k.a. Tony Johnson, bragged about burglarizing his home on social media. On Adam 22's podcast with Wack 100, when Wack 100 was talking about this document the first time, right? Adam 22 recalled that, hey, I think that's the same interview that we had to take down. I think we interviewed Baby Shooter, where in which Baby Shooter was talking about the burglary of T. Grizzley's home. But we had to take it down because he was incriminating himself in a crime. Okay, cool. So in this document right here, it says, and you can go look at it, it's all over the web right now. In this document right here, it says that T. Grizzley he was shown a 6-pack photo lineup. And in that lineup, he picked figure number 4, who just so happened to be Tony, a.k.a. Tony the Tattletale, a.k.a. Baby Shooter Johnson. Okay, fine. No problem with that. Say he picked him out. He identified him as the person who was bragging about burglarizing his home on social media, blah, 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 blah. Okay, no problem with that either. Right? We can run with that. Let's play a game, Flakko. Since you seem to be a cock-blowing, cock-hounding, bitch-ass nigga, we're going to play the game the same way you niggas want to play the game. Because I find it interesting that when you decided to dive into this whole T Grizzly, Wack 100, burglary, Tony Shooter thing, you didn't touch the shit until a picture surfaced of Wack 100 with his whore in the airport. You didn't touch it until that came out because you had something to bite hold to instead of Wack 100's dick, Flakko. You didn't bite into the obvious nature of the forgery of this document. You didn't bite into that. Nor did you bite into the obvious nature of the forgery, the fake shit of this document right here. This is the document that he sent to Akademiks, and Akademiks sent to me and T Grizzley. Because he was under so much pressure. Because this document had been exposed as a fake. So then he came up with this document, which is from the Supreme Court of California, the California State Second Appellate Division, District 2 of the California Appellate Court. This is what Wack 100 read out loud on Akademiks show. And he put forth this shit as if it was the truth. He tried to wiggle his way out of it by saying, hey, if it is wrong, it's not my fault. It's Baby Shooter's fault. I didn't create it. I'm just simply communicating what my little young homie told me. Hey, Wack 100, you screaming Pyru, you screaming LA, even though we know you were born in Tacoma, you bitch ass nigga. You still screaming LA because you say it's LA County. Okay, whatever. You've been around the scene a long time. You've been banging, you've been to the joint, all that shit, right? So when you push, first of all, Baby Shooter is nobody. How did Baby Shooter make it to Clubhouse? How did Baby Shooter make it on, how did he get a bullhorn to talk about this issue, right? Nobody knows who he is. You gave Baby Shooter the leverage that he needed to tell this fake ass story against T Grizzley. Who took Baby Shooter to No Jumper? Who put Baby Shooter on the phone with Akademiks? In the world of urban podcasting and urban media, it really gets no higher than the Vlads, the Akademiks, and the Adam 22 with his No Jumper platform. Really don't get no higher than that, right? Okay, so listen. You didn't fact check. You didn't do your due diligence. You didn't do any verification of this document or of these documents prior to you putting them out. And you said by your own admission on Adam 22's show that you sent this document, this initial document, to 15 people, and the only person who bit down on it was the fight-throwing, glass-jaw, pussy, bitch-ass nigga, Christopher Lovejoy. He was the only person to bite down on it. Okay, it's cool too. We know that you're trying to bait people into engaging into a back and forth with you so that we would hopefully slip and say something threatening to you, right? You're not going to get that because we understand that's how you set up Loose Cannon. That's how you were instrumental in helping to set up and line up Brick Baby. That's how you were instrumental in setting up Big U. Don't forget that Wack 100 and Loose Cannon are the same people who interviewed the person, the Crip, who said that Big U put him and some other Crip up to stealing a U-Haul truck full of $40,000 of Christmas toys from in front of his house. And that they were supposed to get paid on the back end when the donations came in that were going to be used or supposed to be used to replace the $40,000 of stolen Christmas toys. Don't forget that him and Loose Cannon, they interviewed the guy who specifically and explicitly detailed in their interview with him that they committed a crime of burglary, car theft, grand larceny, because when you steal some shit, $40,000, that's grand larceny, and that they worked in a concerted effort with Big U to do it. Don't forget that that was Wack 100 who was guided to do that by Loose Cannon. And don't forget that during that interview of the guy who said that Big U put him and somebody else up to steal the U-Haul truck from in front of his house, don't forget that during that conversation, I'm going to let one of y'all find it, that halfway through the conversation, Loose Cannon said, hey, we're going to put this out. Oh, it ain't for no police shit. It's just for information purposes to embarrass him because we tired of him doing shit like that. So we're going to put this out. We're going to put it out, by the way. So you're going to put out an interview where you're interviewing a Crip who's talking about how Big U commissioned him and another Crip to steal a U-Haul truck full of $40,000 of Christmas toys from in front of his house, and that he was going to pay them for doing it on the back end once the donations came in, because of course it's Christmas time. So of course, once they go to the news and report that the truck full of Christmas toys they're supposed to pass out to the kids came up missing, of course the GoFundMe's and all the other donations are going to come in like nobody's fucking business. So you interviewed the guy and you put it out there for the whole world to see it and hear. Don't forget that. That was a sidebar. But let me get back to this whole thing right here. So, you said that T. Grizzley pointed out baby shooter in the six-pack lineup. Well, for those of you who don't know anything about law, when a police officer or a detective gives a person a lineup on paper, what needs to happen if a person does identify one of the people on that piece of paper is that they give the person who they're interviewing, right, the victim, they give them a pen or a marker so that they can denote or mark or circle or put an X on the person who they identified. And they have them initial and then sign the six-pack full lineup paper. Their initial, they're circling or X or whatever their mark is to identify that that person is the person who they believe to be responsible for the crime. They circle it, X it out, they initial it, they sign it. That then becomes an affidavit because you're doing it in front of the police. And then the police then takes that paper and presents it to a DA, prosecutor. And that is a form of valid identification of the person who you just interviewed says committed said crime. Okay, now that we got that, can we move forward off of that? Right. So, this document was supposedly written by Detective Alan S. Hamilton. According to this sheet, his badge number is 321-9842. But according to the Watch the Watchers organization, which is a watchdog organization that keeps track of LAPD's finest and LA Sheriff Department's finest to make sure that if there's any actions or if there's any complaints or if there's any disciplinary action that happens with the police or a sheriff, that is properly followed through so things don't slip between the cracks like we had 30 years ago with the Rampart division of the LAPD who was running around on some gang shit. They were bigger gang members than the fucking gangs themselves in police uniform. So the Watch the Watchers organization, right? When I went to the Watch the Watchers organization, I typed in Alan S. Hamilton, it popped up that his badge number was actually 108, not 321-9842. So that right there blew the whole document up. We don't even got to get into all of the stupid ass shit, the wording, all the fake ass story that they roll up in this shit. We can just throw this shit away because we know that shit is fake. So let's get back to it. So once that first document came under question, Wack 100 on the phone with Akademiks, he said, well, I had the real work right here. I got the real work right here, and I'll send it to you, right? Okay. So he said, well, tell T. Grizzley to put up some money. And I'll expose it since he said that first work was fake. I got the real work right here, Ak. So tell T. Grizzley to send me $10,000 or $50,000 and I'll put this real work out. Or he said, hey, Akademiks, if I send you this work, you have to promise me that you'll put this shit up on your Instagram for the whole world to see. I wish Akademiks would have done it. I wish it would have done it. Because at that point in time, the whole world would have saw you sent Akademiks an appeal document from the California Supreme Court, 2nd Division, where in which Tony Johnson is supposed to be appealing a guilty verdict for the burglary of T. Grizzley home. The only problem with that is, stop you. The only problem with that is that Tony, a.k.a. Baby Shooter, a.k.a. Tony the Tattletale Johnson, has never been indicted, arraigned, tried, or convicted for anything that has to do with the burglary of T. Grizzley home. So how are you presenting an appellate document, a motion in the appellate court for the California Supreme Court? How are you presenting this as evidence that T. Grizzley snitched? How do we get to the appeal courts when he hasn't been indicted, arraigned, tried, convicted, no motion, no hearing, None of the things that would be public record in this situation, none of these things happen. And then, when I did my due diligence, because if it's a matter of public record, it's supposed to be available through the Freedom of Information Act, the FOIA Act. It's supposed to be a matter of public record because this is a court document that was filed. It's not an indictment. It's not a RICO where you have components of this case that have been sealed to protect witnesses and all that. None of that shit took place. And the infamous words of zip with the drip, let's get to that. How are we missing that point, people? Flakko, genius. You want to sit in front of a microphone at a desk and talk? We can all do that. So let's do that. So they interviewed Baby Shooter. He says, yeah, T. Grizzley told on me and blah, blah, blah. Then here's the kicker. Here's something that you guys don't know. During the conversation, once it got hot, right? And Baby Shooter's name starts to surface in LA as a person who's knowledgeable of what happened or was possibly involved with what happened. Baby Shooter gets a call from Wack 100. And in that phone call, Wack 100 tells Baby Shooter, you know T. Grizzley put a hit out on you. Baby Shooter's like, what you talking about? Yeah, man. Listen to your unk. Your unk would never lie to you. T. Grizzley put a hit out on you. Now, mind you, Wack banging Pacoma Pyru. Baby Shooter is a Gangsta Avalon 5 trade Crip. So you called Gangster Avalon, Pyru called a Gangster Avalon 5 trade Crip who's 20 years his junior and tells him that T. Grizzley put a hit out on him for burglarizing his house. Baby Shooter says, no, I ain't heard nothing about that. What the fuck you talking about? So this is Wack putting his whole plan in motion. Keep that in mind. Okay? So Baby Shooter, he finds people connected to T. Grizzley and he arranges for a FaceTime phone call to happen. This is important, people. He arranges for a FaceTime phone call to happen. Right? Okay. So in a FaceTime phone call, Baby Shooter, he acknowledges that he knows about the burglary and he also starts to name names. My cousin De Niro, a Mexican Crip, a schoolyard Crip, a neighborhood Crip, a this Crip, a that Crip, a Jesus Crip, a Muhammad Crip, a Malcolm X Crip, an Elijah Muhammad Crip, Charlie Kirk. He even said Charlie Kirk had something to do with the shit, right? He later backtracked and said, when that came out, because you know you in violation, bitch nigga. You know you supposed to get your ass stumped out for pointing the finger at motherfuckers for a crime. Mind you, for a crime involving $1 million theft. So you know the police, if they own something, they're going to be on something involving $1 million. You pointed motherfuckers out. So he backtracked and said, hey, yeah, I did do that, but I named motherfuckers who were not real people. These were mythological, fake air people, even though the people he were talking to on the phone, they were from LA. With the exception of T, the other people were from LA. So when he was naming names, they were trading back and forth to isolate to make sure we had the right people. He was naming the names of people. He said, well, I was just naming names. Them ain't no real people. But his cousin Nero just got sentenced to 20 years for a crime spree in LA County, in which he was burglarizing homes over a 2-year period, during the same period of time that the burglary at T. Grizzley's home took place. So when he said De Niro, there's a real De Niro who's a schoolyard Crip. So the whole thing about, oh, I was just naming names, those weren't no real names, that was a motherfucking lie. Because I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to present the evidence that the De Niro he's talking about, now not the fat one, skinny one, or the one that we get to the money, the one who be hitting the licks, yeah, him. That's a real person. So he lied about just giving fictitious names, trying to throw T. Grizzley off his coward ass. He lied about that. So, Flakko, you jumped into the fray to talk about this whole T. Grizzley thing at the 11th hour, and you bit down on a picture in the airport? Oh, yeah, there ain't no gangster shit. How the fuck would you know what's gangster, what ain't gangster? What gangster shit have you been a part of? The most gangsterous shit that you've been a part of is sitting down in no jumper. That's the most gangsterous shit you've been a part of, playboy. You don't know shit about what's gangster, what ain't gangster. When you a police calling ass nigga who threatens to call the police, if a motherfucker has some pressure with you about something that you say in this fucking microphone, you've already said that you have no problem. Let's check this out, right? That's it, so you can see. That's that big dog. That ain't that little one. That's that big dog, Flakko. Right? You already said you would call the police. So in LA, there's an infection of motherfuckers who talking gangster shit, but at the same time, want to call the police or involve the police or scream at the top of their motherfucking lungs to make sure that the police can get involved in it. Don't forget, Akademiks said at the very beginning of that whole picture thing that he said, hey, I got a picture from a T. Grizzley associate, said, we saw you in the airport. Hey, Wack 100, sounds like a threat to me. Maybe you ought to call the same federal agents that you called on Big U to get Big U locked up. Maybe you ought to call these same agents and show them this picture they took of you in the airport. And said we let Wack slide. We let Wack, that's a threat? We let him slide? We let him slide because he was, oh, that ain't gangster. You don't let him slide when he with his wife. No, you supposed to crash out in the airport full of TSA agents, blah, 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 blah. Who the fuck is teaching you LA niggas gang niggas and gang bang? Who the fuck is teaching you niggas street etiquette? Right? Did it say we're going to stab him? Did it say we're going to beat him up? Did it say we were going to assault him anyway? No. Slide is, could have been a conversation. Could have been a conversation. I let you slide. I didn't say I was going to beat you up, you pussy ass nigga. And that's not your wife. Your wife named Kimberly, bitch ass nigga, by the way. That's not your wife. Kimberly is a good woman. The bitch you with right now is a whore. R&B is a whore, allegedly. She is a former stripper. That ain't allegedly, because that's what she is. You got her from ass up, face down strip club in LA proper. That's where you got her from. Right? That's not your wife, playboy. Your wife is the one for tear your ass up. Which is why you making all these fake ass bets, but you betting on ass, you bitch ass nigga. And then we fast forward to, once everything got exposed, once the paperwork got exposed, once your teachers got exposed, you jump out, you move the goalpost, and you say, hey, listen, let me tell you to play, Akademiks. Hey, Flakko, pay attention, you bitch-ass, sorry, soft-ass nigga. Pay attention. Didn't you hear? You've been paying attention to this shit the whole time, but you just chose to jump your soft bitch-ass, knick-knack, paddywhack ass out there when you feel like you had something to bite down and suck Wack 100's dick, you bitch-ass nigga. You grabbed the hold of this whole ass picture of the airport shit, but you ain't say shit about the authenticity of 2 pieces of paperwork that he said proved T. Grizzley was a fucking rat. You ain't bite down on none of that shit. We know you've been watching because you a dick-eating, ball-blowing, ball-hugging, hoe-ass nigga, Flakko. You ain't even questioning the integrity. You're not questioning the integrity of none of this shit Wack 100 is saying. You just bit down, oh, that ain't gangster. Oh, in my humble opinion, you don't have no opinion about what's gangster and what's not gangster, playboy, because you're not a gangster. You're a civilian. You're a police calling ass nigga. Don't forget that. Don't you ever forget that when you pull this motherfucker in front of your face. Don't ever forget that you are a police calling ass, bitch ass, hoe ass nigga. How dare you? But let me move forward. You say it's not gangster. Okay, your interpretation. Hey, Aunt Hefe. Boy, you was just crying like a little bitch when Wack 100 called Adam while you was sitting there talking to another motherfucker and said, hey, with Munchie, Adam and you, when Wack 100 text, Adam would say, hey, somebody on the panel with you right now is a rat. I got to work on them. You've been spending the last 2 weeks trying to defend that shit. So I guess Wack said if you go on there and you say something in my favor, that I won't expose you. And have fake because you spent the last 2 weeks dick eating, dick biting, and crying like a bitch ass nigga. You hoe nigga. You know what I'm saying? 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 You know Moving on. Back 100 says to Akademiks, hey, Akademiks, here's the play. T Grizzley went and found this Dawgface guy somewhere in the local podcast pool somewhere in Detroit. I have $5,000 that says that they can't show you any pictures or videos of T Grizzley and this Dawgface guy. They can't show any evidence they even knew each other. They can't, no pictures, no videos, no nothing prior to me exposing T Grizzley a couple of weeks ago. I bet $5,000. He bet. Hold on for a second. Excuse me. I don't mean to bore you guys, but hold on for a second. That's me, T Grizzley, and Akademiks right there. T said, get that $5K. We laughed at the shit. Right there. He said, I bet $5,000. It's a play. They running. He don't even know T Grizzley. I was at JB funeral. JB, no, I know JP. Was he there? He started to say, but he got cut off. Was he there? Yes, I was there, bitch. Me and JB from the same city in Michigan, you whole ass nigga. I've been doing JB since she was a kid. Fuck is you talking about? So I sent Akademiks dozens of pictures. That was me. I sent Akademiks, hold on. Just to prove it to you. Right? This is me. Akademiks. This is me sending Akademiks. Right here. That's me sending Akademiks that. 2017, at the beginning of T Grizzley's career. Me and JB, aka Jobina, at the beginning, look at the date on that bitch. 2017, July 8th. In Tampa Bay. Right there. Me and JB from Pontiac, Michigan, bro. I was born in Pontiac. I moved to Detroit when I was 15 years old. So you owe us $5,000, man. Because you told Act, I'll bet you $5K that they can't show any connection between them two prior to me exposing T Grizzley a couple of weeks ago. I blew that shit out the motherfucking water. Flakko, you ain't catch that? And Hefe, you bitch ass nigga, you ain't catch that and Hefe? I don't know who you niggas think y'all playing with, bitch. But we ain't going for none of that shit over here. We ain't going for none of that shit over here. T Grizzley, new album, out now. Go stream it, go download it. It's out now. It's out now. It's out now. Let me see. It's out now. It's out now. Street songs, out now. Go get it. Go get it. And Hefe, you's a bitch ass nigga. Poetik Flakko, you's a bitch. You know you a bitch. You know you a bitch. You jumped up and grabbed the most insignificant part of this whole thing and came down with your coward, millie mop ass opinion. You know you a hoe. I don't even know what you're doing in a conversation like this. You biased. And when it comes to Adam, Akademiks, you finna go down in flames fucking with this nigga Wack, because you have allowed this nigga to commandeer your platform just like he did with, what's the motherfucker name? Alvin 22? Because who the fuck is that? Just like he did with Alvin 22. Like he commandeered Alvin 22's back jump shot. Fuck is that? Like he done with VLADTV. Y'all falling for that shit? Shame on y'all, bro. But listen, I'm gonna close this out with this. We have $500,000. We have $500,000 bet on the floor. Fuck the 10. Fuck the 5. Bitch, you bitch, Wack, bitch, you 15 down. Because your first bet was paperwork was real. The second bet was that we couldn't prove any evidence. We couldn't provide any evidence that me and T Grizzley knew each other prior. You exposed them a couple of weeks ago. Bitch, you owe us $15,000, you hoe ass nigga. So do we gotta call Kim? Or how about we put R&B back in the strip club? How about we put R&B back in the strip club and take it out of her ass on that pole? How about that? Because you owe us $15,000, bitch ass nigga. T Grizzley, Street Psalms, out now. Go get it.